Okay, so this is on Google Classroom, this first one to start with, right? Okay, and hopefully you realize that even with a group this size, we have teachers at all various levels of comfort with Google Classroom. So I just wanted to, when you filled out that survey about some of the things that you wanted to work on, some of the topics that came back the most, making an editable PDF that can be shared on Google Classroom. That was the most popular one that we got back, okay? Keeping in mind that, yes, I feel as though it's important, and I'll be brutally honest with you, and it doesn't leave this room, even though there's an administrator here. Whenever you say something like that to administration, they're like, yes, but that's not higher order thinking skills. Well, true, but I still think it has a place in the classroom, and obviously that's what a lot of teachers want. It's not smooth. Back when we had smart notebook software, here we go, Mike, and we're gonna go with all the things that you used to be able to do. That was really cool. Okay, when we had smart notebook software for the students, it was very easy because they could do a lot of things with that. And then for a while, some of us had Adobe Acrobat and the students had it. And it was very easy for the teacher to put in text boxes for the students. So they didn't have to. They could just tab from one text box to the next. So if you had a diagram that you wanted them to label, they didn't have to insert their text boxes. But now, I think the best way to do it is to put it into probably a Google slide, put that image in there. You might want to use it as a background so that it can't be deleted very easily. And then the students will just put their text boxes where they want, because most of our students are pretty familiar with Google Slides and how to do stuff with that. Having students submit work, document, picture, etc. that is not Google-based, using the built-in Google Classroom gradebook, grading student work handed in via Google Classroom, and assigning self-graded quizzes were kind of neck and neck for the next group. Using topics to organize all postings on Google Classroom, and then the also-rans, if you want to call them that. So again, with a group this size and all different variations of where we are, I think one of the most important for organizing for your students is coming up with topics, okay? So I hate to put anybody on the spot, but do you want to talk about topics, or is everybody very comfortable with organizing your coursework into topics? Who would like us to speak on it a little bit? Okay, so your coursework, I will show you, hopefully, what I did for physics a couple years ago when I taught that. And wait for it, wait for it. There it is. Oh, that's got to be embarrassing. Okay, so just in case. Too many tabs open, starting to look like Mr. Finger's computer. Okay, sharing it just in case we are recording these. There are a few teachers at home. So, and I'm not saying this is the ideal way to do it. We'll talk about if anybody's got any other suggestions. And this is just kind of where I left off when I was teaching. The current class is under, well, those are not assigned to a topic, okay? But this one is. With chapter 5 is a topic. So anything I post to the students as grade work was there right under chapter 5. Also, I had another one for reference. This was stuff, including the website that I had, that I wanted students to be able to find throughout the year. And so if you just put stuff in the stream as announcements or whatever, it gets buried in a hurry. And so it's hard for the kids to find it. So I would always have the current chapter and this reference section, again, stuff that I wanted them to be able to find all throughout the year, up towards the top. Because once you make these topics, you can move them up, move them down. There's another way you can do that, but you get the idea. And so that they're always towards the top. It's just more convenient for the students to be able to find stuff. Okay, and then when you make your assignment, you pick what topic it goes under. So how do you create a topic? Create topic. Okay, so I could go. You can assign a topic to it. Can you also put new topic there? Okay.
Yeah, no topic and create topic.
Good.
Like
Okay. So I'm just going to go topic and junk. Okay. And then from there on out, and again, you can move this. If this is something you want, oh, it's already at the top. Or you can click and drag it. But then when you make your assignments, you can assign it to that topic and it'll be right there for them. So I did it according to chapters. Any other suggestions? Those of you that do work with this?
I have a question. Okay, let's say you get down to chapter 1 under that topic. You just continue to move that down in your list, or is there some way you can?
I would. My personal preference was, if you're done with chapter 1, you've already created a chapter 2 topic. If it doesn't already appear at the top, I think it does appear at the top anyway. But if you have to, just get into those 3 dots and move it up towards the top so it's easier for them to find. It'll just automatically move down. When you move that other one up, it'll move down. For me, the one I had to worry about was my reference one, because when I added a new chapter, that would get bumped down. And so I usually had that up, I usually had that up towards the top, just so it was easier for them to find. When you do it this way, it's just going to move up 1. Okay, so right now it's under chapter 5. When I go move up, it is right above chapter 5, but under my junk one. Okay, so doing it this way, it just moves 1 at a time.
Is there any way to make folders within the topic? So like I'm posting my one of my topics is my daily videos. So like as I get through a chapter, can I make a folder that just puts those videos in a specific folder?
Let's see, are we talking about this one or next section? Next one. Are you coming here next time?
Yeah.
Okay. If you still have that question after that, let me know, because we're going to talk a little bit about organizing in that one. Okay. And that might be something that fits what you want to do.
Okay. So, like if I just have something in my screen,
announcements are going to be in your stream, right? So there's not topics there. Yeah, if you want to put it into a topic, it's pretty much got to be an assignment,
So like I
you know, or
could
any of
put
those.
Ed and Sharon the music on there, but that's for everybody, not just the kids, you know, so like anybody can get to it, whether they've been assigned something or not.
I would make it a material.
Put it as a material, that way I can put it in a topic.
They all look kind of the same.
So
Yeah, they do.
So when you do an assignment or a quiz assignment, that will be things that you plan to grade or even questions. The material, you just put anything.
Okay.
So most of the years,
Say that again.
do you have any good examples of like how that looks when you click on one of those materials versus assignments?
No, because I don't even think when I did the physics that material was even an option back then.
So when you do material, you just have a title, you put a description, you can
And there's
attach
no
something to
grading
it.
or due date.
And you can send it to specific students if you want.
So if you make it an assignment, then you can set due dates and it'll allow you to grade things in there and then turn it into an assignment, whereas a material would be kind of your announcements or, you know, yeah. You
I
can
just put
Yeah,
everything.
or a reference sheet they only need for that chapter.
material. They're not gonna turn it in, they're not gonna need to do anything with your
Is
other.
there any way to quickly take all my lessons and turn them into materials without individual copies?
I don't think so.
Like I
Yes,
make
sir.
my daily videos as a material because it's not graded. It's what I do,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want it graded, I don't want it to show up as a grade.
Yeah.
Just like a reference material for them.
So when you put it in as material, does it have like the date of when it was recorded for them?
Well, when I name it, you know, on there, I always put the date.
Yeah.
And I always put algebra 1, 6, and I try to put what it was I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What was the question?
That you will just post some question and it will get the quick answers back from the students. And then you can get down here to some other options. Students can reply to each other or not. In other words, maybe you're doing in English, they had to write a paragraph and you want them to critique each one and give them their thoughts or something like that, or
So that shows up to everybody still, though, if they answer the question? Or is that just for you?
I don't know. Anybody, can you set it to where you can't see the answers?
Yeah, if you can,
The students have an option to do private or class comment in a question, don't they?
well, and if you set whether the checkbox is students can reply to each other, uncheck that.
So they can't even see the other student ones?
Correct.
Okay.
So when I use this, I would use it for like quick formative assessments of students that can just look through, see what they wrote. You can grade it, I didn't use it in that way, but you easily could.
You know, like when you're grading assignments, there's always a section like the post, a comment to the student.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I don't think anybody else can see that, then they can post a reply back to you.
Right.
And you can have a conversation about that particular assignment with that student.
None. Oh, you're not going to be able to see those. Those are from a lab, so we're not going to be able to open those anyway in here. Okay. Here's one thing I wanted to ask, and this is kind of just a broad question, but I've talked to some teachers that are setting up a completely separate class for students that are at home. Is anybody in here doing that? Okay, so let me specify a little more because I don't think you're doing this. It's when in the 6th grade, for instance, when a lot of people got quarantined, then that teacher shifted them to a separate class, within Google Classroom. And then when they came back into the building, they moved them back in with the rest of them that were in class. So nobody else is doing that here. Okay, throws that out the window for a discussion then, because I wanted to figure out what are the pluses and minuses on that. To me, just off the top, it doesn't sound like a very efficient way to do it, because you're shifting students in and out of those classrooms, but you know, maybe they'd find something that's a lot easier.
Well, then you don't have, the advantage would be you don't pick and choose your assignments, because like, you know, I had a section where 16 of the 24 were gone. So every time I was assigning, I had to go through the, you know, which student, and I'd have to click, I'd look at my book, which ones were gone today. So if you had them all in one class, that would go faster.
Or if you're personalizing, if you're doing something different for your hybrid kids than what you're doing for your in-person kids, it's a little confusing for your in-person to know, am I supposed to do this or am I not, or vice
Well, but
versa.
the in-person don't see it if it doesn't get assigned to them, correct?
Yeah, so just, if you want to post them in the whole class, rather
Oh,
than choose them.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If you post, say, a reading assignment, but there's not an actual document that you post for an assignment, what would be considered the proper way to post that kind of assignment?
Well, again, proper is your personal preference. It might just be an announcement that you put out there. You know, this is what you need to do for tomorrow or whatever. So you're not attached. Well, either way, you could attach the document that is what you want them to read. Or you could just say, read page 43 in your textbook or whatever. Since we have students at home, and they seem to be a lot of them, it's hit or miss on when they work on this stuff. That might make me think it is best to put it under your topic, under your chapter, so that they can see all of that stuff for chapter 3 or whatever is all right there, compared to some stuff in the stream and some stuff in the coursework. But again, you probably want to put it as a material, as ungraded,
Yeah.
so that you're not getting these notifications that so-and-so hasn't done it.
Cause are you grading that reading assignment?
Nope. But I just put a little thing that says ungraded.
Yeah, I would just put it
Yeah.
under assignments and just ungrade it, so it's like in the normal flow of your assignment.
But another way, if you want to get a grasp on who's doing it and who's not, you make it a question, put that reading assignment there, and then just ask them something very general from the reading. What is, you know, I don't know, what's the mass of a hydrogen atom or something?
Post a question in that format, how do you get alerted when students respond?
Well, you can set it up, but I would say for that, you probably want to check it on your own time. It's not really that important for you to get notified every time somebody submits it. So I wouldn't set up a notification for that. I would just go to
For me,
the
what
post and look and see who's done it.
I just make sure I set a due date, because some of them, like I wasn't setting a due date right away. If you set a due date, anybody that responds after that, then you do get a notification. So if it was, you know, if I had a due date of September. Oh, you don't? Okay, so I have, so like September 30th, I go in and grade. But I was telling myself, like, have they turned it in yet? Have they turned it in yet? Have they turned it in? I didn't realize I turned it on. But if they do it after that date, then you get a notification, so then I can see, oh, someone did it late, then I go find theirs, grade it, and add it to the rest of the score. And I didn't realize I had set that, I thought that was the default.
I can't even get track of all my notifications.
Okay, what else? What else for basics should we throw out there?
How do we turn off our notifications so I'm not getting 100 notifications a day?
Okay. Let's
Because
see.
I can always go in and look to see if they turned it in or not, which would be much easier than me getting.
Okay, somebody help me out. Why can't I see where to get back? What's that?
Go back to like your home. You're like in the grading part. Go to your home Google Classroom page.
So I have to go to each separate class, right?
That one. Okay, yeah.
Okay, now,
Yeah, so you click that gear. and
the
when you're in
gear,
each
okay,
class,
I'm going,
settings gear, and then you can
Yeah.
set all that to what you want.
manage invite.
This one?
No, go to your.
Yours is a long ways down, Wolf.
Go click that.
So deleted, right?
That's what I thought I was headed the right way. Okay,
So I don't see it. Grade category.
okay.
I'm not saying that.
Okay, so did you, within one of your classes,
Go over to the line, like where all your classes are on the side, you scroll all the way down to the settings, like overall.
Oh, got it.
And then there's just a big.
There we go. Thank you.
What list
That will definitely.
this was within a class. So right now I'm in 8th hour physics, 19-20 is how I labeled it. Okay. So I went here for each class and then all the way down to settings.
Yeah. So yeah, if you just go here, down, and there.
On mine, you can go
And I see,
turn on or off.
I just get them after.
Down here looks like where you can stipulate which ones you get. So what's that?
When I get stuck knowing where I am for sure, I click the home button, it takes me back to the classroom or back to that class. When you click home, it's the class,
This one?
no, over here. School, home.
Oh, this one? No, because that's my bookmarks bar. That's what I've got set up. Ignore that. You didn't see that.
So, okay, I'm sorry, so we're talking about the notifications thing again, if you, turn those off for a class, then you're just not able to do notifications?
To receive notifications, right? Notifications, if you go through this list, you can select what you want to be notified for.
Students can do this too. So
Yeah,
if
students have
Oh.
a student could go there and be like, I don't want to receive any of these notifications.
And their list won't be as long because they're not going to have, for instance, resubmissions of student work or late submissions of student work.
They can turn us off.
Yeah, we can even turn individual classes on and off. In that same.
What else? And again, the whole thing about this is just to throw some stuff out there, and whenever you want to meet with me, or if you prefer Kelly Gable, let's talk sometime, because usually two people working together in a quiet room is more conducive than this right here. Everybody's different, but that's what we're here for. So.
Well, how many people asked that, or how many people said PDF turned in as equal?
22, and the next one was 16.
So it's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
If you, this would be my suggestion. I don't know how some of you are doing that. And like Will said, the whole higher order thing, yes, true. But if you immediately want that, what you might want to do is when you create an assignment, if it's an assignment that what you're doing, you create the assignment, attach the PDF. Students just make a Google Doc. It's assuming the PDF is numbered. If it's numbered, students make a Google Doc, just write the answers on Google Doc. So they have the PDF here, Google Doc here, write the answers on it.
That's what I did when I was gone last week and I was assigning worksheets in Department of Business Management. A lot of times I do that via paper, but I didn't know if me being COVID positive, they wanted me in making copies of things, and so rather than make me do all that, I just pushed all this stuff to them via Google Classroom, and then I said flat out, it is really hard to make an editable PDF to do this. It takes a lot of time. Create a Google Doc, and that attaches so much easier onto Google Classroom anyway. Not easier, but a little bit, slightly.
Streamlined, yeah.
Yeah, and so just create the Google Doc, number it, type your answers beside. You know, you don't have to try to type in this like crazy looking.
No.
If it's a diagram like Will was talking about, so oftentimes what I would do if it was a diagram has, lines pointing to it, I would just put this line, I would put A, B, C, D all the way around, and then on the document, A is mitochondria, B is nucleus, and they just type that on. So just if you can get it numbered or get it some sort of system where they can easily transfer that to, I'm writing it here now. Then once you go in, then you can see the Google Doc very easily within the Google Classroom window and look at it then rather than, so I think PDFs, correct me if I'm wrong, can you view those within Google Classroom, or do you have to download them?
Depends on the PDF, actually.
Right.
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 You can view them.
When you're grading it?
It gets, when you're grading them, yes, I think you can.
About half of my kids can open them in preview and just type their answers in preview. About the other half of them have to download them into DocHub, and then they can type their answers in DocHub, and then they have to download it into their drive, and then they upload it back into Google Docs and submit it to me.
And if you're doing a diagram, another option is Google Slides, and you have the text box maybe on all of them on the left, and you just have them drag them to where they're supposed to be. So you've done that work ahead of time for them, and then they submit it.
Yeah, that's what I do with most of my graphic organizer type stuff. I just add text box after you put the PDF into the Google Slides. Just add the text box.
And if you don't like Google Slides, what I'll do, like on a diagram, for example, especially if ultimately I want them to be able to look at the parts wherever themselves, I'll just put it in PowerPoint, and then I create a text box and make the background of the text box just like white or something, and then I just number it, and then so the text box covers up the word that I'm trying to cover up, and then again, instead of actually having to write in that thing on Google Classroom, it's straight Google Docs, one is whatever. But I don't like Google Slides as well, or so we have PowerPoint seems to be more natural. And then you can export the slide, so then you can choose to export the slide as a JPEG or whatever you want to export the slide as, and then you can just attach that to Google Classroom.
But what do the students use to complete that assignment? Because they don't have PowerPoint, do they?
They just create Google Docs.
Okay.
Like, decide,
Okay.
Whatever.
You're just sharing the one document with them, and then they do a Google Doc.
Yeah, and normally, yes, it depends upon the circumstance in the classroom, what you're trying to do. I've
Yeah.
done that as well. If I want to do it in class and put the quiz like up on the board, I'll just pull the PowerPoint up on my thing, and then they either have a piece of paper or they can turn it electronically, whatever the case may be.
It's for those kids that can use preview works like a ton, because they just open it up and preview and you just type, and then
Yeah.
they just submit it.
It's
But it
gotten
doesn't work
better.
for everybody.
Yeah, it's gotten better. It was really glitchy a few years ago.
iPads don't have preview. But you don't have
So
the Mac.
you open it in preview. How did you get the preview?
When you just open up the PDF or whatever, it's preview that you're opening up, and you just click where you want to type and you just type.
Remember last week or the week before when we were opening things and they were coming up in Adobe Acrobat? Okay, and we switched your computer. So now instead of opening in Adobe Acrobat, they're opening in preview. Yeah.
And then you're just able to type in it, and it just saves it. And then they just upload it, and it works like a song for those that it works for.
That's with technology. A lot of it works really great when it works.
But then, like, I have some kids, and it just
Yeah.
won't work.
I don't know if they got the older version of preview, maybe. I don't know.
Why did my kids say that when I would record it using QuickTime screen recording? I know this is not necessarily Google Docs question exactly, but I would put that in Google Classroom for them and share that. Well, why do some kids say they can't do those videos? I don't know why it's QuickTime screen recording wouldn't be functional.
I agree, because they're all getting the same file format. They'd all be an MP4, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I would have thought that, and sometimes what my frustration was is when I was not here is sometimes the kid will tell the sub, well, it doesn't work. Well,
Oh,
it
yeah.
could be an excuse as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Sometimes you gotta take things with a grain of salt.
And kids get creative on how they do their assignments. Some kids will do it on paper. They'll take pictures of their paper and they will send me the pictures of their work. Other kids will take screenshots, because they can't get it to upload correctly. They'll take screenshots of their answers and then they will upload their screenshots to me. So they become pretty adept at getting adaptable at how they can turn stuff into.
Yep. And right now, out of any time, we've got to be kind of flexible with those students at home, and whichever way they get it done, they get it done, and be thankful they're doing it. Anything else? Again, just want to point out, I know hopefully you heard something that maybe got you thinking, oh, let's sit down with Mr. Young sometime and take a closer look at this, because everybody's all over the place with abilities in here and what you want to talk about, but just set up a time with me and we'll dig through it. Okay. Any other thoughts to throw in?
I don't know if this would cross into the, I don't know what you call it, beginner, advanced, whatever those, I don't know what you call them. If you make an assignment on Google Classroom, you can create a rubric on there. So I don't know how much grading some of you are planning on doing on there, but you can make a rubric that makes it super slick. You just click, 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 and it tells you, and the students will be able to see that then once they look at it. If you are using Google Docs instead of PDFs, if you create a whole Google Doc where it's students, you intend for students to fill that in, there's an option where you can change it to make a copy for each student. So when the student goes and clicks on that, it opens up and it would say, so like mine would say Josh Ellis and then the assignment name.
Right.
so that when they go to then turn that back in, it already has their name on it, and it's already in a copy for them without having to change your sharing settings for that document. So those are two.
And self-graded quizzes, another
I have a
option.
question about the rubric, like, I thought I'm finding a project. If I make a rubric, if I make the rubric on the original assignment, then each kid will have a different rubric than when they turn in that I graded them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Make it within the assignment on Google Classroom.
Yeah, so when I assign them that rubric or assign them that assignment, I can create that rubric on that original assignment.
Yep, and it'll be the same rubric for everybody for that assignment.
A blank one, yeah.
So if I've given them that assignment, but I haven't created the rubric, can I still go in and
Can you go
edit
back
that
and change
assignment?
it?
What?
Are you asking, can you go back and change it?
Yeah, can I go back in and, edit that rubric?
I don't know. I want to say no, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
This rubric thing looks like something that would be a whole like hour educational process in itself. This was complicated.
Well, so,
But you can reuse them too.
The thing is, if you're going to use that for, the foreseeable future, for the next however many times, the work that it takes that you put into it, yes, is time consuming, but then the time you get back later when you're just clicking buttons to do the rubric, you might get back.
Oh, I don't doubt that it'd be valuable, like a larger project, especially that you do every year with kids, you create this nice rubric, because you have rubric already, that's how you're grading it.
Yeah.
They just, right now, when I just open the window to create the rubric, it's like, whoa, I want to create this rubric again.
It takes some clicking through there. I mean, it'll take a little bit of time. to just figure it out.
And you can reuse them on a different assignment.
Yeah, I'm not saying this is bad, but it's not like,
Yeah.
we're like, just like.
You're not gonna do it in your prep period for the next class.
No, I'm not.
It's sharpening the axe before you cut down the forest.
Yeah, so I just gave a project for algebra, and I ended up printing out a rubric and grading it on a sheet of paper and giving the kids back the paper that I graded it on, because I didn't know how to make the rubric for one thing, and it was too late, and it was just easier to grade it that way.
Something I used to do before they had rubrics on here is I would just put so if they're turning in a Google Doc, I would just put the rubric at the end of the Google Doc, and then I just highlight the part of the rubric that they got as like a comment. And then so I'd highlight and I just put this and this. Highlight the next one. Got to do this. And that would just be at the end, and then I just told them ahead and put the score in.
Yeah, they had like 12 slides, and it was just easier for me to have a sheet of paper than going through each slide and make comments on each slide on a piece of paper.
Okay. Again, let me know if there's anything I can help you with.